Yay!
There we go. Perfect.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Hello. I'm good. I was trying to get it on my computer, but I guess Instagram doesn't work properly on a desktop, that's fine.
Yes. Yes. I was just trying to message you on Facebook about that, but I'm glad that we made our way together. So
Oh, good.
awesome.
I love your hair.
Thank you.
Oh
Um,
my goodness.
it this is quite faded. I'm gonna be touching it up sometime today, but
Looks amazing.
your hair looks amazing as always.
Secret.
Awesome. All right. So, do you want to start off by just talking a little about yourself
Yeah,
and what
absolutely.
you do?
Hi, I'm. Pardon?
Oh, and just like what you do and all of that.
Okay. Hello. I'm Esme Symes Smith. I am a middle grade author, and my debut novel, Sir Kelly and the Champions of Helston, is coming out, I think, November of this year. This year, woohoo!
Woo!
With Penguin's new imprint, Labyrinth Road, which is very exciting. It is the first in a middle grade fantasy series, kind of like Tamora Pierce, but make it queerer.
Uh-huh.
And it's about a non-binary kid who wants to be a knight, but the patriarchy gets in the way, so they have
Uh-huh.
to defeat it and the dragons. So should be
That's
fun.
that's wonderful. So excited.
I'm very excited.
Um, so I do have a couple questions that people have previously wanted to ask. So let me start off with tell me about how your journey influenced your writing or
Yeah,
influenced
absolutely. I mean, I've been writing since I was 13, so my God, that's how old am I? I'm about to be 30. Jesus.
it.
So that many years ago. I'd say that's when I started seriously. I started writing fan fiction about, the fandom that we do not name anymore. Um, it was kind of just the only thing I was ever really good at. I really enjoyed entertaining people and writing for my friends. So I kind of got hooked on the validation that came from that. So when it came to
Understandable.
deciding what on earth I wanted to do with my life, I was like, heck, this is the only thing I can do, and everyone tells me that I can't do it. So there we go.
Yeah.
But I went and did a degree in creative writing, which was not very useful. But it kind of gave me the permission to take myself a little bit seriously, which is nice. And then I moved to America when I met my wife through fanfiction. Um, so from there, I did a little bit of freelance work because we were going back and forth between countries, which is so fun. They do not want you here. So I did some ghostwriting then, lots of werewolf porn, which I do not recommend, but I wouldn't have written it otherwise. So that
Boys
was
and
kind of
girls,
fun
right?
to, yeah, I know, it's all experience, I guess. Um, so yeah, whilst we were doing that, I was writing my first books. I did NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month.
Mhm.
So I've been doing that since 2013, and the premise is basically you write 50,000 words in 30 days.
Mhm.
And the first year I did it, I told myself that if I didn't do it, I would never write again, which kind of really kicked my ass to get it done.
Mm. Mhm.
Um, so that was actually the first draft of the novel that I ended up signing with my agent with in 2019. But I think I rewrote it 7 times in between that time, and I wrote other books too. And during that time, I was day jobbing too. So I worked in a frozen yogurt shop, and I worked at Starbucks.
Mhm.
And now I am also a preschool teacher. So I teach toddlers, which is super fun and so much better
Yeah.
than retail. I
Yes.
got out before Christmas, so that's a good thing.
Yes. Yeah. It was weird.
Um,
It was weird not doing
God.
Starbucks holidays this past year for me.
Weird good, right?
Weird. Good. Yes. Like, oh,
Yeah,
I don't have to deal with that. Um.
I know. I don't have to be like abused for money anymore. It's great. My
Well, that
wife just got out of Starbucks just before the holidays this year too, so we are having a really nice year.
good.
Everyone is much calmer. It really makes a difference.
Yes. That's awesome.
Holy moly.
Um. So
Um,
when you're telling your story about your journey with writing, I hear a bit of an undercurrent of like building your confidence was a big part of that. Can you tell me about that?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like confidence in yourself. I'm sorry, I'm holding this because I wasn't prepared to do it. Let's see if I can.
That's okay.
No, it's gonna have to be held. Um, but yeah, I feel like confidence is like one of the most important things you can have as a creative person, and kind of you have to have confidence before anyone else is going to give you permission to do it. Because I feel like the world that we live in really doesn't like creative people until they've made it.
Mm,
And I definitely noticed a difference in the way that people talk to me between me writing and me getting my deal.
yeah.
And it was very, very interesting because my grandmother was like, "Oh well, it was inevitable. I always knew it." I was like, "Well, that's not what you told me like a few years ago."
Hmm.
So it's interesting how the tables turn.
Yeah.
But you have to believe in yourself enough to put the time and the dedication into it. You have to treat it like a job, like a what's the word? Like a career, before anyone else is going to. Which can be really hard, especially if you're not getting the feedback that you need, if you're trying to get into the industry.
Yeah.
It's really hard. And it's definitely demoralizing because there's no like certain way into it. Bad good books get published, great books don't. There's no rules. Especially in publishing, it's a very wild industry, so it can definitely feel pointless at a lot of places. But honestly, like the only way to fail is to give up. So just don't give
I
up.
like I like
And
that.
it can be a long, long road. I know people that have been querying for 20 years,
Mm,
um, with got tens and tens of novels.
mhm.
Like you have to write so many and you have to give it your all every single time
Yeah.
and do it the best that you can just to
Yeah.
get your foot in the door. So you have to do it because you love it
Yeah.
and you have to believe that it's worth it,
Yeah.
even if it doesn't feel like it's going to pay off.
Yeah. Did you have any particular like coping strategies for when you had those darker moments that kept you going?
Stubbornness.
Stubbornness, fight.
I being an Aries definitely helped. Um,
Aries moon.
God, I know. Um, it was really honestly the only thing that I ever felt like I was any good at.
Mm,
And my thing was always I was going to do it anyway, regardless of if I got an agent or a book deal or whatever. Even if no one ever read me, I was still going to write. So that really helped. But probably like in my darkest moment, like probably in the 2013 when I just graduated from university and I had no original ideas. I had no idea what I was doing.
yeah.
Um, I think I was just thinking about like what my life would be like if I didn't write,
Mhm.
and it just didn't really feel like worth living, which is really
Yeah.
not very healthy, probably. But find your community for sure.
Yeah.
Find people that will bolster you and validate you without kind of blowing smoke up your ass.
Yeah.
Um, Other writers know what you're going through, so find other writers, and I'm sure it's the same in other creative communities too.
For sure.
It's definitely a lot of keeping each other afloat
Mhm.
through the nonsense. So yeah, find your people.
Gotcha. So yeah, find your people, have good people around you that are giving you constructive, solid
Mm-hmm.
feedback, and like that believe in your success when
Yeah,
you have
absolutely.
those
Yeah, but
moments.
hopefully it's not just about like constructive criticism, which is of course invaluable. But I've recently really started to advocate for like positivity passes within the critique circle,
Mm,
and there's been a lot of like kind of arguments about that within the writing community about the worth of that. But honestly, for me, positivity passes are just sort of highlighting the things that you're doing well, the things that mean something to someone without the rest of it. It's not like lying.
right.
It's not like blowing smoke up your ass. It's just as useful as
Yeah.
the sort of more negative critique. So I really recommend finding people that can like tell you what you're doing well.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Awesome. Um, so I know this was something that you mentioned you wanted to talk about. Can you tell me about the intended audience of your book?
I'm sorry, what?
Can you tell me about like the intended audience of your book and like who will gain things
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
your book?
I mean, I definitely hope that it reaches a wide audience, but for mostly and specifically, it's for kids who are kind of working out who they am. My God, I am a writer. Who they are, and kind of the kids who might not be in like the most supportive environment, or maybe haven't had access to like the community or sort of books or media that kind of represents who they are. Like they haven't seen that they have options, but they know that there's something else. So I'm really hoping that my books will be able to help kids like that, because I've read books recently that have really like helped me to work it out. Like I realized I was non-binary when I was 28,
Yeah.
and I've always sort of known there was something else going on, that I didn't have the language for it. I didn't sort of know that I had options. And then when you do realize that, it's really scary. I don't know
Yeah.
what your journey was like, but I'm sure it was, intimidating.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, whilst I was writing my debut, that was when I was really sort of realizing that there were words for who I am. And I'm hoping that my book will help people like that, because like it's really remarkable seeing yourself on the page or on the screen for the first time. It's really cool, like being 28 and watching She-Ra and going like, ha, gay, oh my God, gay on the screen. That's amazing,
Yeah.
It's like, because I feel like queer folks always look for subtext, and they're used to like drawing out every little bit of subtext that they can, even if there's nothing there. So to see it blatantly there
Yeah.
and not have to do all the gymnastics and the mental arithmetic just to get what you need is so powerful.
Yeah.
It's so
Absolutely.
cool. So yeah, She-Ra did that, The Dragon Prince, and then, oh my gosh, Anna on the Edge by AJ Sass. It
Mm.
is one of my absolute favorite books of all time. So good. It's about a kid who's an ice skater, which is a traditionally very female sort of sport. And they're realizing that there's something else. And they become friends with a trans kid, and then they start like realizing that there are words for themselves, and just like the process of talking to their mom and working out their place on the ice. And it's really cool because it's great for folks who aren't queer, because like it's just a great ice skating story.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it was just like, holy shit, this is like my experience on the page. This is about a 12-year-old kid, but I'm 28, but this is just as, relevant to me
Yeah.
as to them.
Yeah.
And then I sent it to my grandmother too, and she freaking loved it. And it helped her understand me more than she could without it.
Mm.
Because like I feel like fiction is like a gateway to understanding other people, which is
Yeah.
why it's so important.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing, and I'm so excited that there are more and more like queer stories coming out.
Definitely.
And specifically for like young people, but also like I feel like it's good for older people to experience too. Like there are picture books that I bought that I've given to my father-in-law to help him understand me. Didn't really work, but we do our best. And then we got middle grade. We have YA for like people who are a bit further along, and it's more about your experience rather than your age, which I find really cool. It's not about how old you are; it's about where you are in your own process. You were glitching. You there? I can see you. Ah, hackers.
Okay. That sounds like I have.
Is it working?
I can hear you fine. I'm going to move in hopes that I get a little bit better reception. This apartment. Anyway, there may be some background noise, but it's better if I'm not listening. Okay. Is that any better?
Probably.
Okay.
We'll see. Okay.
But as I was saying, the like experience being, at different age levels, even into adulthood, I think is such a like queer experience. A lot of us
Mm-hmm.
have that experience of realizing who we are at a delayed, on our own timeline. I'm not going to say delayed because I don't want to attach any judgment to it, but
Well,
um,
yeah, but it's true, because it is delayed, because you kind of, I don't know, you kind of have your adolescence again.
Hmm.
but with like the right pieces together, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but for me, like adolescence was very much. It was the most I felt like I was in a costume in my life,
Yeah.
and it was very much like trying to act the part. Like especially within the high school sort of place and people,
Hmm.
it's even harder to be who you are. At least it was in the 2000s,
Yeah.
than it is now. So I feel like from what I've witnessed from my friends, it definitely seems like people give themselves permission to kind of, have that time done over and done right.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And do you, I feel like a lot of queer people when they're going through their like, especially gender awakening, kind of have like a cringy middle school phase again. Do you feel like you have anything like that?
Oh, absolutely. I think when I first realized I was non-binary, I was very much, I hate dresses and I hate makeup
Oh
and
yeah.
I don't want to be in my body. But then I kind of crossed that bridge, which is, I don't know, maybe a year.
Hmm.
And then I was just like, hey, I'm just me and it's great and I can wear makeup and I can wear dresses and I'm still just myself. And that was a revelation in itself too, because it was just going through gates and I've ended up exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because, I feel like my first few months as a non-binary person was almost just as an act as when I wasn't, if that makes any sense at all.
It does. It does.
And now I'm just completely me,
Uh-huh.
and I don't feel like I need to put on a costume. I don't feel like I need to sort of be anything other than what I am,
Yeah,
which is really neat.
that's awesome. So do you feel like your move to the U.S. has influenced your writing other than like the ghostwriting and stuff that you've done?
I think it has, not in content, but in the fact that I have the freedom and the space to just do what I need to do.
Hmm.
And I don't need to. It was very much like a clean break.
Yeah.
Like the person I was in England kind of just got left there. So I had a completely fresh slate to just kind of build the life that I wanted. So
Yeah.
of course my writing is built on top of that, which is really
Absolutely.
neat. I don't think I'd have had like the mental space
Hmm.
to be where I am now there.
Okay.
Because even when I go back just for a couple of weeks, like I can feel myself just getting like crammed down back into that space again.
Yeah.
It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Even if everyone's behaving themselves, which is really nice, and even if I'm having a great time, I just don't fit
Yeah.
properly.
Yeah. So yeah, it sounds like when you have the space to like be your whole authentic self, like
Mm-hmm.
you're more creative, like you're just yeah, you're able
Oh,
to
100%,
self
absolutely.
actualize. So
Yeah, no, it makes, and like found family is a huge thing too. Like my friends are my everything, you and like everyone at Starbucks, like it's just the right people in the right space,
yeah.
and all my family can just like be over there,
Right.
and they can stay there.
I hear that.
But I am also very lucky with like my wife and my in-laws; like they're amazing. So
Yeah, I'm glad you have that. So you talked a little bit about what you read. Um, can you tell me about the process of finding your publisher?
my publisher.
Hmm. And
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
like that whole
So
process.
yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I'm just working out where to start. So I started querying my book in 2015.
Mm.
And I had a few false starts there. Querying is basically just sending a please love me letter to agents, literary agents.
Hmm.
And most of the time they're like, no. Um, but I signed with my agent in 2019. They are Megan Manzano of DeForio Literary, and they're absolutely amazing. Love them to pieces. So we worked on my first book together, which was The Moon Path, which had been my original 2013 nano novel. Many, many iterations. It used to be 7 points of view and 90,000 words, and I didn't know if it was middle grade or YA or adult, but probably all of those, even though that's not a thing. But I finally realized it was middle grade with one POV, and it was much better. Anyway, we went on submission with that, which is when agents write letters to publishers saying, please love me. And most of the time they say no. Um, and they all said no. But during that process of 9 months, I started writing Callie. And it was, we went on submission a week before Starbucks closed for a pandemic. Aha. So I was in submission depression and in pandemic depression. I was just like, oh my God, oh no, everything sucks. So I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna write a book that's just for me. It's just gonna be pure joy, whatever. So I was like, okay, I love Tamora Pierce. I'm gonna write my Night Girl book. So, okay. So I wrote that in a month, and then I revised it, and then I had a meltdown halfway through the second draft because I'm like, shit, I think that this kid is non-binary, but I don't know if I am, and oh god, what if I'm stepping on toes, and but I'm not, and oh god, that means that I'm non-binary, and I have to work this out, so now I have to have a whole thing. And then I got back to my draft, and I was like, okay, I know what I need to do now. So I rewrote that a couple of times that year, thank God for the pandemic. It was a terrible pandemic, but it gave me space.
Yeah.
And we ended up going a submission with that in February of 2021. And then, so as soon as we sent it off to New York with emails, we did it on Zoom and we had breakfast. I was like, okay, well, this book is dead to me now, so I'm going to start the next one. But gosh, I think 10 days later, we got my agent got a message from Penguin Random House saying, hey, we want to talk to your author. Do they want to make this an epic series? Make it longer, make it bigger. Don't know if that'll work, but let's talk about it. So I was like, oh, okay, we could talk about it. So we ended up hopping on a call with Lisa Abrams from Penguin, and she had just moved over to Penguin from Simon & Schuster, where she was the VP. She knows her shit. And she was just so genuine and nice and good. And she got exactly what this book was and what it needed to be.
Yeah.
And, I think authors' biggest fears are being constrained by the publisher, sort of like making it specifically to market, to sell. But she was all about making it bigger and making it more and giving me the space to be able to do that, which was just wild. And Labyrinth Road, the imprint, is all about stories where you can lose yourself and find yourself. So it was just remarkable. Like, it's everything that I want to be as an author. I found her because I was in like a subgroup on Twitter with a bunch of folks, and they posted her tweet, which basically said that she's known for taking risks. So I was like, hey, please take a risk on me. So I sent that to my agent, and she sent my book to Lisa.
Yeah.
And it was exactly the right thing. And it feels very serendipitous.
Yeah.
And it's been an outrageous dream. Like, it's just been so smooth. Communication is amazing. She's the kind of person where you talk to her and she just inspires you just by having a casual conversation, which is so cool.
That's wonderful.
And she's fast as well. Like, my gosh, she's so fast. But the imprint doesn't launch until next November, so we have to wait. Which is fine.
I'm excited to read it.
No, it's been, my God, I know, I'll send it to you soon. I'm excited for you to read it too. I'm excited that it's going to be available to the people I hope will get something out of it. And it's going to be the lead title, which is really neat. So we should get decent push, I think.
The lead title, can you explain what that means to me?
So it's going to be the first title out with the imprint. So the lead title is the one that gets the most marketing and the biggest push. So, I'm not expecting anything, but I think it's going to be pretty good. And, it has the best shot because it's freaking Penguin Random House.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be okay. But I don't know about you, but, like, it's really hard to hope and accept good things. Ever since that I signed with my agent, I've just been expecting everything to just like crumble and fall apart.
Yeah.
And like every good thing that happens just feels impossible and like an extra. So I've never felt comfortable
Yeah.
in all these good things that are happening, and it like I never want to get complacent
Sure.
about it.
Yeah.
Um, it's very scary. It's very scary to feel hopeful.
Yeah. I imagine it feels vulnerable, you know? Yeah.
Hmm. 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 And hitting 2022 was just wild because I'm just like, my book is coming out this
Coming out
year,
this
this year,
year. Yeah.
this year. Ah, it is so scary because like my biggest dream, and it's happening, and it's with a
Definitely.
book that I'm really genuinely proud of to put out there, which is another thing I was really scared about because I know a lot of people that have kind of written something like for market, which was an easy sell, but then they've been like shoehorned into that genre or to that age category, and they're stuck writing things that they don't really like. So I was definitely anxious that my debut was something that I could be really proud to put my name on to move forward with, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
for sure.
Um, and I was really lucky that my agent supported me in just writing like my heart books rather than something that was marketable or whatever.
Yeah.
Because like she'll be like, "Yes, Esme, you can do whatever you want, and we'll fix it, whether it sells or not." Because the only time that she makes money is if we sell.
Right.
So often agents are very market inclined.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful that we were able to find a compromise between those two things.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm glad that you had
Mm-hmm.
that support, like both obviously in your personal life and professionally. And I
I know.
think the world's
I'm
going to be a
so
better
thankful
place
for
for
that
it.
because, especially, querying is another really vulnerable thing to do, and like, you don't know what you need until you have it. It's like buying a house. Like, I didn't know I needed big windows in my house until I have a house that doesn't have big windows.
Hmm.
But it's the same with working with an agent. Like, you don't know what kind of support you'll need until you have one. And
Yeah.
you just better bloody well hope that the person that you've landed with is the right person for you.
Yeah.
And editors are the same, and there are even fewer options there. You don't really get to choose.
Hmm.
So it's definitely 90% luck.
Yeah. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think I have run through my list of questions. Is there anything else in particular that you would like to share, talk about? Um,
Yes, I would like to plug some books because I
yeah.
like books. You should read George Mayack's Gino, which has just been renamed Melissa, which is really cool because George is the dead name of the character and Melissa is the chosen name, which is so cool. So they've changed the name for that. You should read it.
Hmm.
You should read everything by my good friend Ash Van Otterloo. A Touch of Ruckus is their newest book, and the main character is not non-binary, but the supporting character is, and they're amazing, and the dynamic is fabulous. If you like graphic novels, you should read A Deep Dark Blue, which is, I think that was the first time I saw trans characters in a graphic novel, which is really neat. I've already said On the Edge, and AJ Sass also has a new book coming out, which is called, what's it called? Um, it's called something with Ellen on it. It's embarrassing. Okay, read everything by AJ Sass. This Is Our Rainbow is a queer middle grade anthology, and it's beautiful, and it's filled with loads of queer middle grade authors.
Hmm.
Felix Ever After is my favorite trans YA. Absolutely beautiful
Ooh.
book, so powerful,
Yeah.
fabulous. And The Witch King by H.E. Edgman is a trans fantasy YA, and it's brilliant. And then the Witch Boy series by Molly Knox Osterag is also it's very trans, but like not in a very outward kind of way. It's more like subtext, but it's there.
Yeah.
It's a whole series, which is neat. And they also did The Owl House, which is on Disney Plus. It's so good. Oh my gosh, my favorite thing.
Can you
I
send me
hate
a
it.
picture of these and I will post them on our Instagram tomorrow? Cool.
I sure shall. I think that's everything I need to plug.
Perfect.
Read books. Books are good.
Do you have, I know you put out a call recently for your street team. Um,
Yes.
do
Great
you have
feeling.
good support with that? Um, are you still taking applicants,
I'm still
people?
taking folks through the 10th, I think.
Okay.
It's just going to be a little community. I've got more people than I was expecting, which is cool. But it's just going to be people that love kidlit, that love queer shit, and like stabby things and want some stickers. Yay! Um, the real work's not going to start ramping up until like September, so we'll
Cool.
have some chill time before that. It should
Cool.
be good. I'm best found on Twitter at Esme Symes Smith, so hit me up there.
Gotcha. Awesome.
All
Cool.
right.
Well, thank you so
Lovely to
much.
see you. I miss you.
I know I miss you too. We should, catch up off.
For realsies, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Text me.
Cool. All right. Well, you have a good rest of your night.
You too.
And
Love you. Bye.
bye. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining. I greatly appreciate it. And I should have said this at the beginning, but I will be having this on the Patreon. So thanks everybody.